This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian. Mission 250.
Welcome to the Mission 250 Filmcast, where we have almost watched all 250 movies on the IMDb Top 250 movie list. We are on number 21 this week, which is the 2002 movie City of God. We have a timer. We're going to do a quick, spoiler-free review, and we now have a timer. TC has, I guess Zoom has like this timer app you can put on here so we can actually see what 15 seconds is while we're doing it. Visual aid. So bring that up, TC.
Hey, we got
audio listeners. Sorry,
ready? Who's up first?
All right.
John, ready?
Johnny, you ready? You got,
not ready.
You got 14 seconds.
Okay, fine,
now.
whatever.
Ready? 1, 2,
right,
3, go.
Realistic, brutal, and gives you a real sense of the culture and place. And it's really good. Very, very disturbing. Done.
Wow, that
Wow,
actually
look at that.
really
He only
worked.
has 10 of his seconds. With the timer,
right.
John goes fast.
All right, there you go.
All right,
ready?
TC.
So, yeah, I got sick of watching it. I did like it. I thought it was gritty and it was intense. But, yeah, it's tough to watch for those full 2 hours. It's just the same thing over and over again.
Sounds about right. All right, we got to bring it up again. This is actually adding more time to pad it out between. I agree. The realism stands out on this one. You almost forget you're watching a movie, and it's really disturbing because it's very violent, and there's a lot of children being like murdered and stuff like that. And it would be one of those movies that you'd be like, why would someone make this? Except for that it happened. So there's that.
Very good, guys.
Yeah,
I think that was right on. I mean, yeah, right. I think it makes us think better. Yeah.
It does.
So, I mean, I agree with you, Denny. I just had a really hard time watching it. I mean, it's just like you get into the motions of the movie, and then it's the same thing. You know, like you start. It's cool because the opening and the setup stuff is kind of the movie, and then once it gets to a certain point, it's just a bunch of killing, and you're not like. I don't know. I just kind of got sick of it, and I'm like, okay, we obviously know this guy's gonna get it at some point.
This is all not going to end well. This is really there's not even like necessarily a hero here or anything. You're just expecting pretty much everybody to die, more or less.
Right, and it's kind of, and since they bring in so many characters and they just continue to bring them in throughout the movie, you kind of don't. I don't know. It's like you're like, oh, am I supposed to be paying attention to this guy? Nope, now he's dead. I supposed to pay attention to this kid? No, now he's dead. So I guess I wasn't supposed to pay attention to any of them, really. And then you realize that doesn't really matter. It's all the cycle that you're seeing, right? The cycle just continues over and over and over again. One person gets killed, and then that person has a brother who wants revenge, and then that person gets the revenge. So it's like tough to watch.
Oh.
Really was.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree, but it's. I didn't have the illusion that I was watching something real the entire movie, and that's pretty hard to do. It just felt like a documentary. The way it was filmed, the acting, basically those two things for the most part. Like the settings too. I mean, all like real locations, tons of extras. They seemed like they just filmed it guerrilla style, and they did.
I mean, there was a. What do you think about all the camera,
like
the camera shakes? I mean, it was like after a while, did it bother you? Liked it? It didn't bother you at all after a while?
I kind of did.
Yeah.
No, because it really made it seem like the whole thing was like almost a documentary.
Yeah.
And it made it like extra realistic and scary.
Yeah, I think the bit landed.
Even though the characters weren't there, it was like, well,
over time, the bit was. I mean, yes, it was great. I'm not saying it was bad.
Just a lot
I'm just
of it.
saying over time.
Yeah,
you're like, Jesus Christ! I felt dizzy sometimes watching it because it would be like shaking one way and then swipe around the other side, and then it would do a J hook.
Chicken cam, strap that camera to the chicken.
Yeah, and then it was just a lot. It was just a lot of sensory overload going on in this movie, and then just gunshots.
Yeah,
if you weren't paying attention, the gunshots will get you back in action. Yeah. Would you show this to other people? I don't think so.
Guess who I showed this
Your
to?
parents.
Mom and Dad.
My parents.
No, they
like
did not.
it?
They did say that was not an enjoyable evening, Dennis. Oh, did they?
They actually like this one. They did.
I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
man.
Mom and Dad. I think I was like 18 years old and I was like just going into college. Like, check this out. City of God, Mom and Dad.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's watch
They
it.
were like, oh, you're finally getting a taste of what it's like outside of America.
Ah, finally
you
a
know?
good
It's
Christian
good
movie.
thing.
Wait a
Yeah.
minute. That's not what this is.
Yeah, wait a second. Yeah, that's not. No, and it's not the hand of God.
I know.
I figured that out too.
But nice to go back down
And-
memory lane that I had no idea existed.
I mean,
I completely forgot about that one.
I had to look it up on our own website to see if we had done it, and boom, there it was. And I was like, all right, I better text them. I'm watching the wrong movie.
Nice.
We're reviewing The Hand of God
yeah,
right
yeah.
now.
I was like, why are we watching this again? I don't know, man.
And you'd think that the word God would be in most titles of the movies that we're watching on this list, but no, only 2. Right? The Hand of God. Well, The Hand of God wasn't
The
even on there.
Godfather.
But
That's
you got
a
7
compound
Samurai.
word.
You got 7. You got the 7th Seal. You got 7 Monkeys. Lock, Stock, and 7 Smoking Barrels. It's a shit ton of 7s on
Not
there.
to mention 7. Did you say 7? I didn't
I said
know.
7.
Yeah,
I thought you said
Yeah,
you got the
first
7s.
one.
I didn't know that was
Oh, yeah.
specifically calling out 7. But gotcha.
No. But yeah, there's nothing really to talk about this movie, I don't think. The characters, like you said, don't really matter.
yeah.
And it kind of, I thought that kind of helped with the experience because it doesn't follow the structure of like a normal movie. He's just like, he was like, we're going to follow the story of Knockout Ned. We're going to follow the story
we'll
of
get-
Benny.
we'll get
Like,
to
we're
him
just-
later,
Here's the
sort of,
slice
yeah.
here.
Um,
Yeah. And the fact that knowing that like all of this is true just makes it seem it's like this person is telling a story and that comes across really well. And it's like stories don't always have characters with fully developed arcs, there's just a bunch of stuff that happens in real life that movies don't typically have because you have a whole structure that you're supposed to follow because it's more interesting a lot of the time when that happens that way. And this one just kind of
It does.
throws things at you as they come, and that it just makes it, I think it aids to
I
it.
think it does a
It aids, like,
remarkable
the
job of
the feeling
throwing
of the
you in
movie.
this place, like with very little exposition too. Very little.
Well, and I think that's why it gets away with not having much of a story because the place is chaos. So it's like, all right, we're in chaos. So watching a movie about the chaos makes sense here, right? Like a well thought out, deep story within this insanity is not likely, right? You're not going to have some sort of redemption story for the person living in the slums, right? So I thought it was just right for what we were watching in the world we were in, I thought. But man, it's not easy
Not
to keep
happy
watching
times.
after that first hour and a half. Once you hit that hour and a half mark, you've seen it all at that point. And
I don't know. When did that little kid like torture scene come in? When he's like,
that's like
telling him to choose which child to
in,
kill?
and that's where you're. And as you're
That
starting,
was
that's why
brutal.
it's like, it's bad, but then the film shows you how it's going to get darker because you're going to see the next generation.
a start,
Yeah,
right?
And,
I know.
and that's just tough to watch. And that kid see.
Well, no, and isn't it interesting that at that moment too, you kind of like, this movie's over.
Oh yeah,
That's the
Right,
resolve
right.
is, oh shit.
yeah.
The only thing that's happening here that's determined is that this will
Right.
continue.
Now you're seeing-
it's
yeah,
almost
exactly.
like who cares about the death of little Z there, or whatever his
Right.
name
Little
was.
Z.
Yeah.
That's again, it's masterfully done in the sense of, I mean, like you said, it's not easy to do. I don't think it's easy to just do this, to just tell the story and not have all these other things creep into it, or not try to make it Hollywoody or movie like or whatever. I mean, or not make it look like, I don't know. I don't think I've seen anything. What Denny, you're our comparison master.
I was trying to think about it. There's nothing like this. Now, like all the ones we like that are little slices of life are still way more Hollywoody and movie like.
Right. Like if you look at Belly, it's the same idea, right? It's gangsters being gangsters, going after people, robbing people, shooting people, but it's so highly stylized for like,
Gomorrah is similar. You ever seen Gomorrah?
Gomorrah, yeah.
That was good, but it doesn't reach this level.
No,
You
it
can still
doesn't.
kind of tell it's a movie.
Yep.
It has like it has more like gangstery tropes in
Mm-hmm.
it. This one is so gritty that there's never like Little Z is the gangster dude, but like he's never sitting in a throne. Like there's never any like, oh, he's glorified or whatever. He's always
once he's in the paper, he kind of is, because at that point he's got
kinda a little
gangster
bit, he's like-
status, right?
but it's not in the same. He's always like he never makes it in the same way. Like being the king of the slums is still pretty shitty, right? And it shows that.
Right.
It's not like
And
a
he's still,
regular,
miserable
they're not
and,
rich,
quote gangster being
right?
like rich.
They're barely
Right, yeah,
getting
they're not
by.
rich.
Not
They're
even that.
barely getting by.
No.
Yeah.
But they're
Yeah.
also not showing like, there's no stylish happiness or anything like that. Even little Z still is not, it's clear he's not like a happy guy. He's not having a good time.
He's actually really
and it's-
fucked in the head, which is
Yes.
kind of terrifying.
Oh man, when
His
that
character is
kid,
pretty
when
damn
they
scary.
show the kid
Yeah.
going back and like laughing as he
Yeah,
shoots,
that
that
was
was creepy
creepy.
as hell.
That kid,
Yeah,
that
again.
kid was scary as fuck. That kid was
He
even
was.
scarier than the adult version of the little
Yep.
Z guy.
Yeah, I feel like he lost some of his I don't know, looming sense when we moved into him being an adult. Like you could tell when he was a kid, like it's worse to think that you could be that young, and that is creepy. And then when you get to him being an adult,
Yeah.
it's like, well, I can see an adult being an asshole. That's not anything new.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah, and I just thought it was weird. The other gang was kind of like stupid in a way. Like their leaders were idiotic, and they all live in this ecosystem and work in the same world. It was just like,
Was it just like Carrot, the guy that Benny was
Carrot
saving?
was just kind of stupid,
Yeah.
and like I don't know. Benny was a great character. I thought Benny was an awesome character because there's nothing better
He's
than
very
like
likable. Yeah,
the cool gangster that's got like some
Right, right.
mercy. Let's not kill everybody. Let's only kill the ones we need to. I thought that was kind of.
I kept forgetting that he was also a
storyline.
murderer because
Yeah.
like he was so
Yeah.
likable, but then you'd flash back to him and little Z doing like the most
Heinous
despicable shit when they were
things.
younger. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, this guy's a monster
Right.
too. It's pretty easy to forget.
Right. Yeah.
Just because he's got cool hair and cool style and he's got the girl, he's got it all.
Yep.
Yeah, and it wasn't. I don't know. Some other films are either like too gritty, like this just seems to really just. It's not dwelling on it. It's not glorifying it. It's not romanticizing it. It's just like flat there, and I think
It's not
that's
really even
what
saying this
it-
is bad and we should stop it.
No,
it's just saying
not.
this is happening and this happens.
This is what it was.
Yeah.
But it's also it's also not like saying it's not like even some films that do that try to like make too much of that. We're showing the objective truth here. This is exactly as it happened, and it's not. There's no shades of that either. Like it's patting itself on the back for being
Right. Like
realistic
it's
or
not.
something. I don't
it's
know.
not
It just feels
quite journalism, but it's also
Right.
not quite a full story in the sense of like typical story that we're
no.
used to.
There's no right. And again, like I think of some of the like right, or like the brutal films that we really like Come and See is really brutal and realistic in some ways, but it's also very artistic in other ways and not real, and that's in horrifying.
Right. So like the
ways. And it just-
fantastical parts
even
aren't
some
there
of the-
in this one. It is very much
right, or
reality
even like
based.
the slice of life.
They don't cut the
films-
sound out of this movie at any point for effect, right?
Sure, right. Or they're not. They're also not going after any kind of like artistic view of or like cinematography type stuff. They're showing you what's happening, sort of like you're there, but not like trying to. I don't know.
You can
Construct
say
a
that.
Scene.
But I mean,
But maybe they've done it, and
there's a lot of really good
doing it in a way
cinematography in
going
this
to-
movie, and it is
Right.
kind of stylized,
but it's just so
it works.
natural.
Right.
It's just very natural. It doesn't feel like, again, like even a film like some of the ones we like 400 Blows or something like that, you feel like there is much more of a stage scene that you're seeing. Even as you're watching the slice of life, there's a lot of composition that seems to be there, and it's cool.
What about, this is more like Amores Perros, which came after.
Yeah, that
so
was
I
a
think
great
it probably
one.
took a lot.
I liked
of,
that movie.
Took a lot of influence. Oh, Amores Perros was actually before this.
Before this? Oh wow.
Yeah. So maybe this took a little influence from that one.
Could have.
But I mean, I think this did seem like late 90s, early 2000s style with like a lot of editing, really
Quick shots, quick movements.
quick
yeah.
shots. Shaky cam was really popular. Lots of colors, tons of colors, very busy shots.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was strange in this one too, though, in compared to like Amos Paros or something where they had a lot of perspectives, like different perspectives. Like, for instance, when the girl was in the car and she's watching the first kid there get killed, her boyfriend, right? When they're trying to run away. And then all of a sudden it switches to her perspective. And you kind of like see her living in this chaos. And then you switch sometimes to another character's perspective. And each one of them has different like fucked up thing that happens. And it's them reacting to it. And I think that also helps us kind of immerse ourselves in because we're not just following that one protagonist. It's many.
not even-
like every one
Yeah.
of these people is the protagonist, and they're all
I'm not sure I
facing the
thought it
same
was their
problems.
perspective. I think I know what shot you're talking about. It's when he's like running between the buildings and he's getting shot and he starts to tumble. When I was watching it, I wasn't like, this is what she's seeing. I just thought it was like another, cool camera shot. Like, I don't know.
They had this perspective change when he went from the car, he got out, they kiss. It now becomes her perspective. He's pushing the car and she's watching him. And then he begins to run off as she's in the car, and then we're in her world
I guess so,
watching.
yeah, but it still seems like that's that's more movie-like. I wasn't thinking in terms of perspective, because you're just thinking more like somehow you're witnessing the action, but you're not necessarily these characters. You're seeing.
Well, and that's
it,
why
right?
I think this isn't quite journalism.
Right.
And there is story. It's just that it's
very subtle. I
not
think.
necessarily our usual protagonist story that you're following the one.
Right. And even
it's
though we
almost
have
like-
the guy.
Right. I feel like Act 2 is
right.
mostly Benny. Right.
Right.
Act 1 is like growing up when they're younger, and it's mostly Rocket, but there's still like a bunch of other side stories going on.
Right.
Act 2 is mostly Benny.
Rocket's supposed to be the protagonist, I guess, but
He
goes
doesn't have
away
a lot
for
to do.
chunks of
he
time.
disappears for some time, and it's like kind of not him that we're following.
Right, but it's
for a
his
lot of time,
story.
so.
You feel like that, like
Right. He's like, I'm gonna tell you what happens to me, and to understand
Right.
it, you're gonna need to know what's going on with him. I wasn't there, but this is his story,
It's
that
pretty
sort
cool.
of thing.
I mean, it's
I
a
don't know.
good,
It's done.
good
It's
piece
just
of
done
work.
so subtly. I don't know what the word is. Just so effortlessly, almost. It's not like you're not seeing Rocket doing the narration. Well, whatever.
Yeah.
Like some kind of like
Scorsese.
style narration of shit, right? Yeah. That's my favorite Scorsese moment, when all of a sudden some other guy starts narrating. I forgot what film that was. Like we're like 2/3 of the way in, all of a sudden a whole different guy just starts his narration. It was like,
Is that
all
I
of
feel like that's
It's
a lot of them.
Casino,
I don't
is that
remember.
Goodfellas?
Anyway, it's
Is
like
that the Irishman that
just
happens
some
in that
other
one?
random dude just starts narrating. So yeah.
Picking up for where the other guy
it
left
was.
off. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Who are you?
Yeah, but I agree with you, John. What you were saying, how this movie just feels kind of effortless. Like, you can tell a lot of effort was put into it, because it must have been really hard filming with all of the people. Like, a lot of the scenes have a lot of people in them, and organizing that to make it seem natural must be really hard. And like filming it in a place that's real, like a live street shot, like the hotel they filmed it at. There were people in that hotel where little Z is when he's a kid, it like shoots up everybody basically. That was a real hotel. And there were people in it staying
Oh, God.
that didn't know this production was going on, and they got
Holy
complaints that there were
shit.
gunshots going on in this hotel. That's how
mean,
this
that's
Anybody
because
production
it's
walked
in the
down there
middle
and
of
saw
nowhere,
some of those
right?
sets and been like, oh God.
Yeah. The director of this said if he knew how dangerous... So they didn't even film this in the City of God, because currently, I guess... Well, I don't know if currently, but back in 2002, City of God was just way too dangerous still to film. But they found another favala in Rio that was like pretty close by that they filmed there instead. And he said if he knew how dangerous it was going to be filming even there, then he wouldn't have made the movie.
Wow.
So tensions were high the whole movie. Everybody but Carrot was not an actor. Carrot was the only actor in this
shit.
entire movie. They
Yeah,
had
let's
to
just go right into
the
it.
trivia, because
that
I
does
feel
not
like
show
we might
a
as well.
bit, right? It
No,
does not show
those
at
kids
all.
are
No,
great.
it's
That's
fucking
unbelievable.
nuts. They had a 2,000 person casting call from everybody. They're all from the slums.
Wow.
They're like kids, children, 2,000 people. They handpicked 100 of them, and then they had an 8-month actor camp thing. And they focused on keeping all of their natural movements and speaking styles, and they mainly focused on all the scenes of violence is what they focused on, to try to like get these non-actors to coordinate all this stuff. But none of the people in this movie are actors, which is
Impressive.
I just don't even know
Yeah.
how that makes any sense, right? I mean, that's probably why it comes across as so realistic, but at the same time, that doesn't make any fucking sense. How you can get a bunch of not like this many people. How many characters are in this movie? Like 30
And they're like all
main
good
characters?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then they're all good.
There's
Because
not,
they're
not
just
a
like,
standout.
hey,
not
be
somebody's
yourself.
brother in there.
right? They're like, hey, so what we
Yeah.
want you to do is like, remember that time you were with your friends and that thing happened? Yeah, do exactly that again. Go. And they just did it. I mean, but still, it is impressive as hell. Like, I just can't. I thought for sure they were all actors.
Yeah. And they weren't. Because apparently back when they were casting this, there weren't enough black actors in Brazil. Because apparently back in the 90s, there were some racial issues, and I'm sure there might be still. I don't know anything about Brazil right now, but they didn't have enough famous black actors to actually cast actors because they needed more black actors than were names. So they were just like, well, let's just go to the slums and get the people that live in the slums who are mostly black, and we'll put them in the movie so it's accurate to what we're trying to show here. It's gotten better apparently since then, but they said back when they were casting this, there were only 2 or 3 black Brazilian actors that they could have cast, which is not enough.
And it's amazing, especially the lead. The thing about, there's a lot of leads, but those like Z and everybody there, all of those people. There's I don't know, like 7 or 8 like lead people that have a substantial amount of work to do in the film as far as dialogue and acting, and it's all like good. It's just it's very remarkable. This isn't like, they didn't have to learn many in terms of lines, or they didn't have to do anything complicated, or this is like quite a lot. Like it's kind of amazing.
A lot of it was improvised.
I could see that. Yeah.
So that could have helped.
And again,
like
you said,
give them
TC, it's like, do you know a situation like this? Do you know?
Right. Yeah. Do you know a situation like this?
You heard one.
Right. What did you say that time? Yeah, that's perfect. Say that, Or here's the thing we're trying to get. We'll think about that and go and see what they get to. That's pretty cool. To think that you're doing that while you don't have time because it's dangerous is, not something that probably will ever happen again.
And isn't it also, you think a lot of what being a good actor is being able to like stay on camera.
Right,
and lines.
There are actors that are highly paid actors that can't do that.
Well, there's that, right? But the idea is like how you look, how to do all this with everything that's going on, and what you have to do is look natural. That's hard, supposedly.
Not for any of these people, which is fucking nuts. And the thing that's almost the most impressive is there are so many scenes where there are over 50 people on set. And they have these like complicated things going on, and nobody's fucking it up. No one's.
They don't have
a
shit ton of takes either,
insane.
right? Probably, given the sort of.
I don't know.
I couldn't imagine they did. I assume that there wasn't that much trivia on this because nobody did anything else after this. Basically, the guy who wrote the book only wrote the book because this is a true story. So he wrote this one thing. All the actors, most of them didn't become actors. A lot of them. Or it actually, what I found is that everybody had to be removed from the slums afterwards. It didn't say exactly why. I don't know if it's because they would have put themselves in danger for whatever reason. If this would have brought negative attention to the slums. I don't know if more cops would have ended up going there because of all the, this movie made a decent amount of money, and it got a lot of, 4 Oscar nominations and stuff. So people know about it. It's on the list. It's got a shit ton of votes.
Deservedly so, yeah.
So, yeah. And they placed them in kind of help camps.
Oh, wow.
I guess, just to kind of get them out of the slums and try to get them a foot forward in life after they were
instead of just leaving them there to rot. Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Basically, witness protection program.
Or just like an ethical duty to, if you're making money off of these people, to also help them so that you don't feel like a complete exploitation,
The actor, so this sucks. Speaking about money, the actor the younger actor, the child Little Z, was offered, or actually maybe it was the adult one. One of the Little Z actors, it was probably the adult one, was offered either a 1% cut of the movie profits or money,
straight money,
and he picked money.
That's a guaranteed thing.
Who knows? That's a guaranteed thing, and you're living in the slums. You got to pick the money one. He would have made 25 times more if he had picked the percentage one. So that sucks. But the younger Little Z didn't actually want to be in the movie. He just went because his friend was going to the auditions. And that probably, the fact that he didn't want to be in it might have helped him seem,
snub his love
that way.
But
man, is there any other movie that shows violence against children like this movie? Not even not
that I've seen anyway.
Not even Come and See comes close because he's not as young as these kids are. Some of these kids are
and they really showed them shooting people and dying and being shot and you know. This is not one I would watch again.
I'd be pissed if this movie wasn't a true story. That's basically...
It would just be like murder porn.
For some reason, since it's true, it's kind of like, well, I'm glad I watched
don't
it
know.
because, you're kind of
Are we?
learning something about...
How it could be
Kind
in
of.
a slum.
Yeah, about how,
basically.
just like how some people are living.
How a lot of people are living.
I think it's good to know.
I don't know what you do with
I
that
don't know.
information other than, feel guilty.
Well,
but
I don't know either.
I think
Right. But it's just good to know that, like, maybe selfish as this down. Just like, you don't have it that bad,
Right.
right?
Oh, yeah,
Feel
things
good
are
about
awesome.
over here.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, even if Trump gets in office, we're still in good shape compared to that.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
Well, in comparison to that.
You had to mention Trump during
in
the
terms
City
of
of
not
God
killing
episode
everybody's
teasing.
Well,
dying
because for us
away.
right now, that could be the worst thing for us. That's what I mean. So, like, it's
So
actually-
but I don't know the former and current President Luis da Silva had met with the director of Brazil and told him that the film had a huge impact on both policy and public security within the country.
oh, wow.
It sparked a major increase in film productions, with over 5 being done during 2002. Films such as
That doesn't help the people in the slums.
But
there's a rapper
Right.
that came out from the City of God that got somewhat famous, and he
Right.
was like, the movie didn't help at all. It was actually bad for everybody.
But
So maybe the country itself and the movie studios in Brazil were benefited from it,
Doesn't
but
necessarily
it doesn't
lift
sound like
everybody,
the
right?
people in
Yeah.
the slums.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
I mean, why would they give them money?
I'm
What are they-
confused
what are
on
they
why
gonna give
we're
them, right?
confused by this. Yeah.
No, it's more about like. I mean, the question
not
is
confused.
what
We're not
is there
confused.
is there value in this? Is there I mean, this is really uncomfortable to watch, and
a
the
tough
question is,
question.
and I think it's valuable because, as you say, Denny, there's a lot of elements of truth to it, so that makes it valuable because these were things that were happening, and
I feel like there's some value in like kind of seeing the extent that humans can treat each other and how
and to
casual
see the
violence can get in
cycle
certain
and
situations.
all of that stuff, and to see how it starts so young and how it influences the young, and yeah.
I mean, this is almost a war movie, right? If you think about it like in a small scale war. And war movies that do casual violence are, I don't know, more upsetting a lot of the time. Unlike, I don't know, The Rock.
to just pick one at random.
We're just going to bring up
antithesis
that
of
movie
casual
all
violence.
the time as like an example of, yeah, it's a
That's true.
It's the gold
baseline.
standard
It's our
of movie
baseline.
cinema.
That's
What
right.
can I say?
You got City of God, and you got The Rock.
You got The Rock, you got The City of God, those
Yeah.
types of movies.
That's realistic, casual violence.
Yeah. with
I wish it was the opposite of
non-actor
realistic
types.
casual
Sorry, you
violence.
just put it there in the same framework, and nothing makes sense. Even if you're saying it's the opposite, it still doesn't make sense.
You wouldn't say that The Rock is the opposite of City of God? I think it is the opposite of City of God.
I just putting those things in the same area.
I think maybe Hachi might be
Yeah.
the
There
opposite
you
of
go,
City of
right.
God, thinking about it. Except for there's a death in it. We have to find a movie
Nobody
about a dog
dies.
where nobody
Yes,
dies.
yes.
That
Does
would be
anybody
the
die in
opposite.
Benji?
Yeah. Doesn't Benji die? Doesn't always
Yeah,
a
that
dog
might be
die
true.
in dog movies?
Eventually. But yeah.
Old Yeller, Marley and Me. I think they shoot Beethoven in the head at the end of that one. I forget. It's been a
I
while.
don't remember that one.
St. Bernards have lots of brains. There's a lot of cleanup. That
God.
movie was
Oh, God.
very weird the last 15 minutes.
Spoilers.
That's right.
I haven't seen that one in a while, but I'm pretty sure that's what happens.
Sure. I don't know.
What are we talking about?
This
This one.
What else you got, Denny?
But yeah, this guy's name is Paulo Lins, the guy who wrote the book. He wrote it back in 1997. It's supposed to be a really good book. Took him 8 years to write it, and it's the only thing he's written.
Because it's a pain in the
Yes.
ass to write. Yeah.
He's not a writer. Yeah, he just had
Right.
a story he wanted to tell,
Right.
and he
he's
told it.
had
And
enough.
that's about it. The budget was $3.3 million, which is, I mean, this is a Brazilian movie, so it's kind of hard to judge it against what that would be compared to, but like, that is nothing, right? This movie looks amazing. It's got so many actors and sets in it. It takes place in cities, like they just shot it in cities. It's pretty good for 3.3 million. So I guess if you don't have any unions or permits needed or whatever
you can
else,
do a lot.
Safety for yourself and others out the window. Yeah.
Turns out
Plus,
when you're
like,
not following
they
the
probably
rules,
had, like,
man, you
they
can
had no-
create some create some
Right. If
cheap
it was,
shit.
I don't know. They had like no
Yeah.
lighting, I mean, everything was just like kind of handheld cameras, very little in terms of set creation.
I wish there was some type of making of. It's kind of hard to believe. I mean, usually if you shoot outside, you need the shit that goes above you so the people aren't standing in direct sunlight, right? But I mean, dragging those around to different areas
Doubt
and
it.
stuff doesn't seem like the style of this movie.
No, they
I
were
don't
just
know.
running, gunning.
Did you?
Yeah.
Did you watch?
But it looks great.
There's
Like,
a,
none of
a
it looked
10
like
years
shit.
later documentary. Did you watch that? Oh,
I watched a bit
okay.
of it. It was not that good. I did read that everybody that was in there, like they found a bunch of people and they paid them $90 each to be in that
Oh,
one.
wow. Yeah.
And they took it.
$90,
So,
huh?
yeah. $90. There was, I watched it for 20 minutes and there was zero good information in it. So I was
Okay.
like, baby's crying. Gotta go. Can't watch this one. Little Z, that actor is from the City of God, the little kid version of Little Z. They had a bunch of, the process of auditioning was unique because all 2,000 of the people coming into audition were potentially dangerous because they hadn't
wow.
screened them thoroughly and they were all from the slums. So there was just, they had like extra security. They were just aware of like, signals for someone who might
Either to rob you or something. Yeah.
do something. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Which has got to be kind of weird for an audition like process. What else we got? Slumlords, where they shot, did not allow the production company to hire their own security guards. They made them hire the slums security
okay.
guards, the local
Makes
people.
sense. Actually, those are probably your best
That
bet.
was part of the reason they
Maybe so,
didn't.
I guess.
Yeah.
Probably, but and it's also like keeping the money in the community sort of thing, which is kind of nice, I guess. But they didn't. The production company didn't love
No,
it
I'm sure.
because they didn't know who these people were.
Probably,
Yeah.
billing wasn't really well organized. You got to go pay Rocky in cash. I don't know how that works for them, but it's just going to be yeah.
The last piece of trivia I have is that the runts in the movie and at the end represent the CV or the Commando Vermelho or Red Command. All three are the names of this group that currently lives in the favelas, and they're the mob that runs it right now. And they do have a death
so
list.
they did end up taking over.
They did, and they're joking around making a death list. They have a death list.
Nice. Okay.
So-
nice.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
Nice,
that's
says
good.
John. Nice.
Hey,
Good
you know
people.
what?
Good for them.
people.
Keep them
Love 'em.
lists.
Yeah, love good
It's not-
people. You guys like movies? What do you guys think?
It's not just enough to kill people. You need to be organized. Yeah, you need to be a little
true.
thoughtful
Yeah.
about it.
Hey, operational excellence
That's
can
right.
be in gangster life.
You worried about what you do. You know if somebody's doing a good job. You know they've got a list. Let you know. Let you know they're
that's
organized.
right. That's right. There's always
That's
a
right.
bulleted list somewhere. You know? Right.
Yeah, they got their little board, going to kill, in the process of killing,
They got their
killed.
board, they don't have technology, but
Yep.
they've got paper.
Yeah.
You know?
Bullets, guns.
Oh man,
Paper.
So I don't think we have another rough
No.
one. I'm looking down the list here. This one was a rough one.
would you guys take
I don't
hand
think
or
we
foot?
do.
Oh god.
Oh, we have Schindler's List. Never mind.
I think I would take foot. Yeah, because
take
you
foot.
need your
I
hands
agree.
for so many.
I mean,
things.
the worst case scenario, you
The thing is, though, like if you live
and you need to be able to run
there
right,
and you need to be able to move places, like you
That's
don't have a
true.
car, you know, like
and
it's
you're not going to
probably
get like good
maybe
medical
even more
treatment.
important to have your foot.
I don't know.
Right. You might fuck up your foot and it might be gone. And then
Maybe
what do you
so.
do? You're dead
Right.
if you don't have your foot. But if you can walk places, maybe you can get around with one hand. I don't know. I was thinking
Is
foot
there any
too.
place to go? Doesn't look like there's anywhere to go.
Well, you
though.
got to like get money somehow, right? You got to like, I don't know, do something. I don't know.
Did it seem like anyone had a job there? I don't think so.
How do they get food and stuff?
They rob,
Who?
steal.
Who has the food?
I feel like there's, people that run it and they like give food to certain people that do what they're supposed to do and then don't give them food if they don't do what they're supposed to do. And it's like
They had
communal bartering
the one
system.
family that
It's
it's
a
I
socialism
forgot what it is.
type of
Yeah,
society.
right. Because they're all so poor and like
Right.
nobody has jobs. So
Yeah.
I can't imagine. Like somehow somebody within the criminal element probably runs who gets what and when and what bars are stocked and what ones aren't, and based on who's paying. I would imagine the money has to funnel in from the drugs first, and then that creates the ecosystem. However, because otherwise, where's the cash coming from? You're not getting tourists over there, right?
I thought it was interesting how they talked about how when it was just the one drug lord in the town that everyone else was like pretty cool with it. It's because there wasn't like casual violence. You just have
Yeah,
the
because
one guy.
he was taking care of the people,
Right.
Whether they were drugs or
It's like, well, we're poor. We live in this tiny town. Doesn't have roads, but at least
nothing to do.
there's not random shootings going on all day, every day.
No TV.
No TV. What would you do without television? Oh, God.
Oh my God. I don't know. Read, I guess.
So you're saying you wouldn't recommend this to people, TC?
I'm saying I wouldn't recommend them watching it because it's tough and, I don't know. It depends. It depends on who it
do you
is.
feel like it's, John, you bring up a good point where it's like, why is this important to watch? It's not like I'm donating to the favalas now. It's not like I'm, joining the Peace Corps to help out. It's not like I'm actively helping the situation by watching this, so what is the point? Like it makes, since it's true when you watch it, you're
true.
like, that was
It's
worth
true.
watching.
It's
I learned
also-
something, but who cares?
Well,
What does
okay,
it matter?
so there's that, but it's a really good piece of work. Like it's a really good piece. It's good acting. It's good showing realistic.
Yes, so the way you say it like that, John, it's like if someone is a movie nerd and they really love, movies for art's sake and production and all that,
And,
yeah. You should watch this. If you're just a
Right.
normal folk like Denny's parents, I'm not recommending this one.
They liked it. They liked it. What can I say?
Yeah, but that's a weird one off. I'm not, that's not a data. That's an
It
anomaly.
was my first Christmas back from college. I had a lot of friends that were showing me these cool new movies that I hadn't heard of before.
Yeah.
This is like pre-good internet back in 2004, something like that.
Right. Back in DVD land.
DVD land.
Yeah, I don't know.
not even Blu-rays yet.
It's just not. I think if someone was like, "Hey, do you have any movies that I should check out?" My first bet wouldn't be this one.
No, that's true.
No.
Yeah. So what'd you like last year? I liked Barbie a lot. Yeah, you should watch City of God. It's a pretty good
yeah,
one.
right. Exactly. No one in the world wants to hear that. Did you see Oppenheimer? No, but I did see City of God. You should check that one out.
Was that from last year? No, it's back from 2002, but you should watch it. It's really good.
Yeah,
You
it's
would
right
like
in
it.
the year I graduated high school, and it was gritty. So you'll love it.
Any famous actors I would know from it? Nope.
Nope.
Guaranteed
Not
nope.
a one.
Nope. Robert Altman said this was his favorite movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I can kind of see that.
Yep.
There's nothing else like this movie.
No, there isn't. All right.
Yeah. Trying to think of if there's anything else. Top 250. What do we think?
Yeah, I would say yes on this one because it is such a unique, and the story, most people don't know it. So,
I'd say definitely yes.
yeah.
It is unique in a, all the movies we've watched. This one stands out like more than a lot of the other ones.
Yeah,
Before
and
this one, it was like
especially
Thelma
knowing that-
Blows was kind of up there.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know. Yeah, this one stands out as just I don't know. It just seems to. Yeah, I don't know what
Mimicking
the word is.
reality,
Depth,
the
or I don't know what the word is,
closest,
but just
kind
lately,
of.
like even on the last like batch of movies that we've had, they've just felt very Hollywoody, and Silence of the Lambs is still really good.
Sometimes
but it's
good,
still,
like Silence of the Lambs. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes
I
in a
don't
good
know.
way.
it's still like a full-on theatrical production versus
I think this is
a
like
very
somebody
journalistic
right.
view, a window view into this world that we're never going to see as individuals living in America, and we'll likely not see even if we visit.
Because in Silence of the Lambs, it's like, oh, he's going to say
Janeiro.
something creepy and cool. Oh, she's going to say something cool too,
Right,
and then he's
right.
going to say something cool
Yeah.
every time, back and forth. Your turn, your turn, your turn.
Right.
Very well written dialogue, very good, enjoyable, but like doesn't seem natural, doesn't seem real.
Well, I won't be recommending it, but I'll put it in the top 250.
Yeah, that's all that really matters.
That's right.
All right, we got
Okay.
some options next week, guys.
What are we doing?
I've been tracking a bunch of movies that I've wanted to see for a while, and some of them are becoming cheaper from their, initial $20 rental costs because I feel like that's a little too much. Two of them
is a
have
little
dipped down
bit.
to the
Alright.
$6 rental
Yes.
cost.
Yeah, that's nominal.
Yeah. We have Monkey Man,
Okay,
directed
so
by Dev Patel.
I watched
Oh.
that one last night.
Oh, you did?
Did. Won't say a word.
Okay. And the other one is Love Lies Bleeding.
Haven't
I've
seen
not heard
that.
of
That is Kristen Stewart falls in love with a woman bodybuilder, and then they go on some type of rampage together or something. I'm not entirely sure. It looks pretty stylized and
Interesting.
pretty cool.
Okay.
Those are
That's it.
our options.
There's the movie Assassin.
Is that from a while ago?
Oh wait, no. It's a Netflix movie, Hitman. Is that what it's called?
Oh, Hitman.
Hitman.
We watched
Not
half
so
of
good.
that one. I'm
Okay, it
not
just
sure we
got
wanna
really,
do
really
that
good
one.
reviews. So never mind. Okay, didn't know.
It's still worth watching. It just
Really,
there
okay.
would be
Yeah.
nothing to talk about.
Nikki and I are going to watch that one at some point, just because it's romantic comedy.
I have a feeling you'll think the same about Monkey.
Okay, so maybe we do Love Lies Bleeding.
Let's try
I
that
kind of want to
one.
watch that one
Yeah.
anyway more.
You watch Monkey Man and let me know, but it's not. It's
The
just
commercial
not-
makes it look like it's going to be awesome, but then
so
the reviews came out.
That's what I was expecting too, man. It was like, man, this is going to be cool, but then it's just something about the believability of it all. And when you look at Hotel Mumbai, which is the other one that actor was in, that one blows it out of the water.
Oh yeah, that one's scary as shit. That movie.
Yeah, it blows it out of the water. And so there's a lot of the same sort of tropes in it, but the story is just not as impressive in The Monkey Man, unfortunately.
Okay.
But I think that it would be there wouldn't be much to talk about because it's I don't
It's about a guy
I
who
won't
dresses up
say.
like a monkey and punches people and stuff.
Well, but the thing is, that's like the incidental part of the story for the most part, for at
Oh.
least half the movie.
I mean, that seems like a
that's
good enough
just
idea for that just to be the movie. And I'm upset
Yeah.
you're telling me that it's not the entire movie.
Well, it's because it happens, but then he goes into it's a split. So you'll see him in the fight, and then it cuts, and he's in his regular life doing regular things. And
That's
it's
he's
these
Batman,
two different,
and it's mostly
and
about
so there's these two
Bruce
different
Wayne.
people, and then the other part of the story, it doesn't I don't know. It's one of those guys that goes on a rampage, basically.
I mean,
Can't
you're
take it
not
anymore.
putting me off it. It sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah,
still.
I know, and so there's definitely some good spots. I just don't know if there would be a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that sounds like we
What are you gonna do?
narrowed it down then.
Love Lies Bleeding,
cool with
which looks
that?
like it's
Love
going
Lies
to be
Bleeding?
weird.
Love Lies Bleeding. Oh,
Yeah,
it is.
It's an
gonna be weird.
A24. You know,
Okay.
Kristen
right.
Stewart
It
with a
can go
mullet
weird.
in there. Sure.
Oh boy.
You're welcome,
right,
guys.
Danny.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Danny.
Yeah.
I probably should have just said
right.
the Monkey
give that
Man,
a
but we'll
nice,
see.
enjoyable, relaxing little romp. And nope.
I mean, the Monkey
No.
Man's kind of like Guy Ritchie-esque in a way, I guess, but not. I don't know.
Not as. No.
It's just I think I kept seeing him in Hotel Mumbai too, and they're very
talking about
similar
Dev Patel?
characters. Yeah, they're very similar characters because they're both working in a hotel and a servant type position.
Did you know that guy directs Monkey Man? He directed it
What'd you
too.
say? Oh wow,
Dev Patel.
cool.
Are you more
You
impressed
must
now?
like to be making fun of servants then. I don't know.
It's his thing.
Yeah, that's his thing. All right, well, Love Lies Bleeding coming up next.
Oh yeah. Set the
All
bar
right.
low,
Sounds
guys.
fun.
Let's go. All right.
Setting it low.
Yeah.
All right.
All right,
See
see
you
you guys
later.